Stop motion as a visual medium has always fascinated me to no end. Sure, traditional animation and CG have proven to feature their own positive elements over the years in, well, all forms of media, but stop motion has a certain quality to it that just makes it seem special in my eyes. Whether it's used in movies or TV series or short videos online, it never ceases to amaze me the level of creativity that can arise from taking elements such as clay, plasticine, or some other third thing I can't think of at the moment, and utilizing them to tell some sort of story. Look at Aardman or Henry Selick for good examples of filmmakers and companies who are able to use stop motion as a way to tell great stories with no shortage of imagination to go along with it. And that level of imagination remains strong with Isle of Dogs, the recent offering of stop motion animation filmmaking that comes from the mind of Mr. Wes Anderson, a man famous for his quirky style, loving symmetry within shots, and wearing highly fashionable corduroy suits. Surprised he's never tried to actually adapt the bear corduroy into a feature film before, but I digress. I was waiting to see this movie since the beginning of 2018, and I'm happy to report it wasn't just as good as I expected it to be. Granted, after witnessing the gloriousness that is Fantastic Mr. Fox, I had such high hopes for Isle of Dogs it wasn't even funny.
You're exaggerating, Patrick.
I'm sugarcoating it, man.
But was possibly even more brilliant. Why do I think this? Well, sit down, people, and let's talk dog stuff.
Wow.
See, the story of this movie is an intriguing one. In the futuristic Japanese city of Megasaki, a corrupt mayor bearing the name Kobayashi calls for a banishment of all canines due to a supposed outbreak of dog flu and snout fever. The dogs all wind up being sent to Trash Island, a virtual wasteland that is, pretty much as its title implies, a garbage dump for Megasaki City. We follow this lone pack of dogs as they are doing their best to survive without human care, even if hope of them going back to Megasaki to their masters seems hopeless.
I think I might give up.
What, right now?
Right now. There's no future on Trash Island.
However, when a young boy named Atari crash lands on the island to search for his lost dog, Spots, this pack of mutts must band together to help him no matter what dangers lie before them.
We won't find the dog, but we will die trying.
Not a bad way to go.
At face value, this movie seems like a relatively simple tale about a boy and his search for his canine buddy, but there's more under the surface if you look hard enough. In this movie, we not only deal with Atari and his quest to find Spots, but there's also a subplot involving a young student named Tracy who feels something is going on involving said banished dogs. You might even call it a canine conspiracy. Soon to be on Animal Planet in 2020, starring Rob Lowe. Granted, that's not the only one of many things going on in this story. The characters, particularly the canines we follow, are quite unique as well. Atari is a determined young lad, able to hold his own even despite all of the trouble and occasionally moody and or sarcastic dogs surrounding him at any moment in the film.
Or somebody spoke his language.
There's also a great arc that occurs with the character of Chief, played by Bryan Cranston, as he has become convinced that he was born to be a stray, and also happens to have a bit of a reputation for getting a little nasty with not just his grumpy nature, which shows up from time to time, but the other characters are convinced he lives to fight whenever he can.
I am not gonna fight this robot. I'm against the little pilot, remember? I don't even believe in Master.
You're the best in a scrap, we all know that. You like to fight.
What happened? Why did I do that? To this day, I have no idea. I bite.
I beg your pardon. Ignore that dog. He's got snout fever.
Granted, that's just the tip of the dog bowl, though, which if that's not a saying, I will totally trademark it. You also have the pack Chief is part of, which features Rex, the indoor dog, who's a bit of a realist, Boss, the pessimist, or semi-pessimist in this case, Duke, the gossip spreader, and King, the celebrity pooch with no work.
You heard the rumor, right, about Doggy Chop?
Remind us again. What rumor?
No, they folded.
Oh no. Doggy Chop folded?
That's to say nothing of the other dog characters, but I needn't spoil what they're all about. Although you must know Oracle is a bit of a scene stealer. Anyway, another important element of this film is its level of maturity. The film is rated PG-13, and they really take advantage of that. Sure, any average dog owner who filmed footage of their real-life dogs probably would just sit there with the camera on and pet their furry, four-legged buddy for an hour and a half speaking baby talk. Probably. I'm assuming. But this movie has the cojones to showcase not just what the effects of Trash Island are doing to these lovely doggies mentally, physically, and emotionally, but many of these characters wind up getting bruised quite a bit, both humans and dogs. Here are some of the highlights.
Sheesh, Igor, I think he chewed your ear off.
This is child abuse.
Thankfully, it's not as bleak and gory as something like Plague Dogs or Felidae, though don't get me wrong, both those films have their own positive elements that make them worth watching for anyone who has a strong tolerance for dark animated features with talking animals. Also, Felidae has Bluebeard.
All I want is a hot meal beside a warm fire. What I want is codfish.
Now, this particular film has received a bit of criticism because of its seemingly unnatural cultural appropriation of Japan and how all the Japanese characters of the film only seem to speak Japanese and there's only a handful of Nagasaki residents who speak English and other aspects that are too numerous to mention. Personally, though, I'm not sure this holds water. I feel that Mr. Anderson was just inspired by Japanese architecture and traditions and was looking for a way to showcase it in a respectable manner, even with the fact that he's not from Japan himself. Heck, there are even a few Japanese people attached to this film who helped to write the story and even voice some of the characters, so I really don't see any problem here. Besides, the movie's depiction of Japan doesn't seem to be offensive in any way, shape, or form, at least in my eyes. Also, it's a story that takes place in a fictionalized future, so it's not meant to be representative to our current time and our current outlook of Japan. Also, there are talking dogs, so, you know, suspension of disbelief and all that.
I have a question. Are we eating him, or is this a rescue?
We don't know yet.
I should also point out that the animation is absolutely gorgeous, not just in showcasing the vastness of both the futuristic Megasaki City and the run-down nature and also vastness of Trash Island, but also in a character perspective. The dogs all move like real dogs, or at least as much as they can, which can't be easy to pull off with stop-motion puppets, so kudos on that front. This animation definitely feels a bit more fluid than Mr. Fox did. Not that that film's animation didn't have a certain charm to it. Speaking of Mr. Fox, the voice acting in Isle of Dogs is just as solid. Bryan Cranston makes his Wes Anderson debut here, and he is utterly fantastic. You see what I did there? Koyu Rankin is genuinely wonderful as Atari. The ensemble of Ed Norton, Bob Balaban, Bill Murray, and Jeff Goldblum as Chief's pack buddies is a team-up so good I really can't put it into words. Leif Schreiber as Spots. Oh man, I don't wish to reveal his character's backstory here, but boy, he was amazing in this. Then you also have the likes of Scarlett Johansson, Greta Gerwig, F. Murray Abraham, Tilda Swinton, and many more who all turn in great performances as well.
You belong somewhere. You've got papers.
Oh, I'm full grown, sweetheart. You don't have to worry about me.
To put it simply, Isle of Dogs is a wonderful testament to the power of stop-motion animation. The story is fascinating, the animation is brilliantly done, the characters are intriguing, the voice acting is phenomenal. It's just a glorious movie and I loved every flipping second of it, right down to the last puppy snap. If anything, I hope that people are able to walk away from this film having a newfound respect for their own canine friend if they happen to have one. Dogs are awesome. Heck, my family has a dog named Chloe, and she's awesome, and such a happy pupper if I do say so myself. When all is said and done, Isle of Dogs is certainly the type of cinema magic that will have you sitting down, rolling over, and begging for more. Now, if you think that's the corniest way I could end this little analysis, well, clearly you don't know that, like the little pilot Atari, I may have a little bit of a screw loose, and I like it like that. Bottom line, good dogs, great movie, end of story. Good night.
There. I said it.
Really? Thank you very much. Wow.
I turned my back on mankind!
All in favor of not eating the little pilot, say aye.
No, you can't ride the pagoda slide.
But we both know that was no suicide.
Told you that dirty lie. Take it one day at a time.
Sitto, biscuito. Let's go!
Tracy Walker, Megasaki Senior High Daily Manifesto.
Chief, sit! You're disobedient! Sit! Chief, sit!
Don't ask me to fetch that stick.
Sit!
I lost all my spirit.
You're disobedient! Sit! Sit!
You make me sick.
Sit! You're disobedient! Sit! Sit!
Don't ask me to fetch that stick.